Yousuf had always felt the weight of the world on his shoulders. His life was filled with responsibilities, a steady job that demanded his attention, a family who needed him, and the never-ending cycle of social media, where everyone seemed to have the perfect life. Yet, despite having everything he thought he wanted, Yousuf couldn't shake the feeling that something crucial was missing. One evening, after another exhausting day, Yousuf sat by the window in his room, staring out at the darkening sky. The world outside was alive with sound, with people rushing by, cars honking, and the endless hum of modern life. He gazed at the horizon, watching the sun slowly dip beneath the trees in the distance. For a moment, everything seemed still, quiet, but his mind, as always, was racing. He picked up his phone, mindlessly scrolling through posts from friends and strangers alike. Pictures of happy families, exotic vacations, and successful business ventures filled his screen. But none of it made him feel any better. In fact, it only made him feel more disconnected. He realized, with a sinking feeling in his chest, that he was losing himself in the noise of the world. Yousuf thought, what happened to me? Why do I feel like I'm living someone else's life? It was then, as the evening light faded into night, that Yousuf decided to make a change. A quiet but powerful decision. He needed to disappear, not physically, but mentally and emotionally. He had spent too long living for everyone else, meeting expectations, fulfilling responsibilities, trying to keep up with an ever-demanding world. Yousuf decided to disconnect, to step away from the distractions that consumed his time and energy. He knew this wasn't about running away from his life, but about rediscovering himself. It wasn't about leaving his family, his friends, or his work behind. It was about retreating from the noise long enough to hear his own thoughts again. He sat in his room, bathed in the soft glow of his desk lamp, and made a simple plan. I'm going to unplug. I'm going to take a break from everything and reflect on who I really am. The very next day, Yousuf turned off his phone, silenced all his notifications, and deleted social media apps. He didn't tell anyone about his decision. He just quietly began to withdraw from the things that kept him distracted. The first few days were difficult. Yousuf felt strangely alone. Without his phone to distract him, he found himself alone with his thoughts. He walked around his house, which suddenly felt too quiet. The walls of his home seemed to close in on him. His once busy life now seemed like a distant memory. As he sat in his living room, staring out of the window at the peaceful garden outside, Yousuf began to reflect on his past decisions. The world outside was so fast-paced, yet Yousuf felt like he was stuck in a cycle. He had been running for so long, but never stopping to think about where he was going. What am I doing with my life? He wondered. What do I really want? Everywhere he looked, he saw reminders of his old routine, the cluttered kitchen counter, the pile of unread emails on his laptop, the half-finished to-do list lying on his desk. All of it seemed meaningless now. Yousuf decided to take a walk outside. The garden was peaceful, the rustling of the trees calming. He walked slowly, allowing the fresh air to fill his lungs. It was then that he realized something. He had been living in the shadows of other people's expectations, always trying to meet their standards. And in the process, he had forgotten who he truly was. Days turned into weeks, and Yousuf's inner transformation began. His thoughts became clearer. He woke up early each morning, not because he had to, but because he wanted to start the day with purpose. The first thing he did was sit by the window, watching the sunrise as it painted the sky with hues of orange and pink. This peaceful moment became his anchor for the day. Yousuf didn't just sit back and wait for change to happen. He worked for it. He began to read books that challenged his thinking and inspired him to be a better version of himself. One book, in particular, The Purification of the Soul, taught him how to release the pressure he had been carrying for so long. It was a journey of unlearning, the need to be perfect, the need for constant approval, the need to compete. He let go of these burdens, and in return, he felt a deep sense of peace. Yousuf also started focusing on his physical health. He would go for long walks in the park, where he could hear nothing but the birds and the breeze. He ate cleaner, exercised more, and made time for deep breathing and meditation. For the first time in years, he felt in control of his own life. One evening, after weeks of inner work, Yousuf sat in the living room with his eyes closed, reflecting on everything he had learned. He was no longer the same man he had been. In the silence of the moment, Yousuf understood something profound. True transformation doesn't come from changing your circumstances, he realized. It comes from changing the way you see yourself and the world around you. It's about letting go of the things that no longer serve you and making room for peace, purpose, and growth. Yousuf smiled to himself. He had discovered the most powerful truth of all. The ability to transform was always within him. He didn't need to go anywhere or become anyone else. He just needed to be true to himself. When Yousuf finally reconnected with his friends and family, they couldn't believe how different he was. He was calm, content, and more focused than ever before. One of his close friends asked, "Yousuf, you've changed. What happened? You seem happier." Yousuf smiled gently and replied, "I didn't go anywhere. I just took some time for myself to understand who I really am. I realized that I had been living for everyone else, but now I'm living for myself. I stopped running from myself and embraced who I truly am." Yousuf's story is a powerful reminder that in our fast-paced world, we often forget who we are and what we truly want. We become consumed by the opinions of others, the pressure to succeed, and the constant noise that surrounds us. But true transformation comes when we take the time to disconnect, reflect, and reconnect with our authentic selves. Yousuf learned that in order to truly transform, we must disappear from the distractions and chaos, not physically, but mentally. By taking time for ourselves, we can rediscover our purpose and create a life that is aligned with our true values. Take a break from the noise, disconnect from the distractions, and spend time reflecting on who you are and what you want from life. The journey to transformation starts with you. If Yousuf's story resonated with you, maybe it's time for you to disappear too, not in a physical sense, but mentally and emotionally. If this story inspired you, stay connected to the true sparks, and let's walk this journey together.